Hey everybody, welcome back for another memory keeping plan with me video in my Sadie Stickers 7x9 vertical planner. Haven't said that in a while, but just a reminder of which planner I use. And this week I used a Sadie Stickers kit. Her kits are like 4 pages, pre-foiled, really pretty. But this plan with me, I swear, almost did not happen because after I put down the base in my preferred style of putting down bases, I was like, I really don't want to figure out how to fit all of these boxes with all of the plans that I used this week. This kit is gorgeous. I've held on to it for I think almost 2 years, if not 2 years already, because it's so pretty and I've been wanting to use it for like a Tahoe trip or something in the woods. And I have all of these leftovers from two now closed shops, like long closed. Anybody remember Pretty on Paper Co? Anybody? That's a real throwback. And then, so I had leftovers from a kit with colors that kind of corresponded with this kit. And then I had leftovers from a Simply a Mess kit that I used like at least 4 years ago. And Simply a Mess hasn't been closed as long as Pretty on Paper Co., but like also has been closed for at least a few years at this point. So yeah, I thought this art was just so beautiful and it was pre-foiled and I love this like succulent bouquets and I've been meaning to use this kit for I feel like years and I don't really buy Sadie stickers kits. Basically, I've used this version of her planner for this year, last year, and the year before that, I think. And I always order during her launch. So for the next year. So during that, she offers a free kit. So I've used like one kit of hers pretty much every year since I've started using her planner, and they are just gorgeous. I just don't know how to be creative and beautiful enough to make them work for my they just don't match up with my style of planning, which is to mark a million silly little things every day. So yeah, I struggle with that. Like I feel like if I just wrote in like 4 things a day, I could make it work, but that's just not who I am. It's not how I do this. So yeah. I did use all of the full boxes. So I did an extender on Saturday because I knew I was going to have lots of little things to mark because we had lots of little errands. And then also the news was newsing this day. I'm not going to go into like all the details of that. You can look back at what happened on June 21st. I'll talk more about the local news later. But yeah, just a gorgeous kit. I just almost honestly rage quit this plan with me after putting down the base. If you are familiar with the term rage quit, let me know. I definitely am borrowing it from like the video game community. I'm not much of a gamer. I'm a very casual gamer. I'm like, I like to play Mario Kart. I'm really bad at it. I usually come in like last, but I love it. I like Mario Party. Am I very good at the mini games? No. Was Animal Crossing New Horizons my life for like 2 whole years because of the pandemic? Yes, I joked it was my summer vacation that year because I didn't get to go on a summer vacation. Anyway, tangent, sorry. So what I did with the headers was I used one row of them across the top. I kind of like mirrored the bottom washi because I had like that leaf pattern along the bottom. So I put the leaf pattern headers at the top. I did the scalloped headers in the middle and I alternated the direction of them. I did this with a Sadie Stickers kit at Christmas and then the pattern headers ended up at the bottom. They were pretty. I used the habit trackers from the kit. I forgot there were habit trackers in the kit, so I pulled some from my leftovers from those other two old kits. But then I realized, wait a second, there are habit trackers in this kit, so that was good. And then I also used the weekly checklist from the kit, and instead of pulling in a this week or a dinner's header or whatever from my leftovers collection, I just used the extra patterned header that I had left over. So the sidebar, as you can see, you're going to see me do this a lot in this plan with me. I'm bringing in some scrap sticker paper, especially from full box sheets, in order to figure out what the heck I'm doing with placement. I started filming this one night and then probably too much information, but like I started getting cramps and started getting like overheated and just annoyed with myself and with the kit. So I put it away for that night and then I was like, we're going to deal with this tomorrow. So that's what we did. So after this clip, we'll flash forward to the next day because here I'm just, you can kind of tell from my body posturing that I was over it at that point. So we took a break. got some sleep, got some Advil, and then came back the next day after really thinking through the placement. I just didn't like how much thought I had to put into box placement because I had to like layer things and all of that. So now I have to get into the day by day. So Monday, my husband took a sick day because of some medical issues he was having the day before. This was the defense day, PhD defense day for the doctor who treated Clover for FIP. So we were invited to the virtual version of that, and I was crying kind of happy tears because Clover survived all of that. So I have a Sweet Ava's Paper vet sticker for that. So the doctor who treated her already became a veterinary doctor in another country, but then she came to the US to do all sorts of things, including research, and is now getting her PhD after she's already a doctor. So she's awesome. I could never, but she's fantastic. I had an important phone call. I filmed and voiceover, or no, didn't voiceover, but I definitely filmed a plan with me. And then my husband and I took a walk because he was feeling a little bit better. He didn't have a cold or anything. That's not why he called out sick, but he was having some health problems, unfortunately. I'm not going to get into that because it's not really my business to share. But the walk sticker and the sneaker are both from the Prairie Planner. And then they announced that we had a measles case in Sacramento County this day. I was not pleased. Great. I listened to the Boneheads podcast. I played with the cats, and I watched YouTube that night. If I'm not mentioning where a sticker is from, it's because it's like from old leftovers from those two kits. Tuesday, I started the day with some yoga. I voiced over a plan with me, so that's from Sweet Ava's Paper, and then I just kind of tidied up the house. So I just marked that as cleaning, mostly just like taking out the recycling to the bin, putting things back where they need to be, all this type of stuff. I got a refund from my Walmart order from the previous week because I ordered some replacement air filters for our air purifier, and it was listed as a 2-pack, and the price kind of indicated it was 2, and then they sent me just 1. So they just refunded the whole order. So I got a free air filter this year. So that was nice because I wanted to have 2 just to not have to worry about it next year, because it's one that you can replace like once a year. But they only sent me 1. So yeah, I don't know why they did that. Anyway, I had cramps this day and I watched YouTube. So those are both from Itty Bitty Sticker Co. I believe like the online shopping sticker is from the Prairie Planner. I think she sells that. I don't know. I only really buy kits from the Prairie Planner and occasionally foil. I don't often buy the icons. So if I have an icon from her, it's because it was on a freebie or something like that. Wednesday was Tanya from Itty Bitty Sticker Co.'s birthday. I think I got the date right. Let me know, Tanya, if you're watching. I brushed Evie because she's my cat, if you're new here. She was shedding a lot because it was hot. I had cramps again, so I used this Blowing a Kiss Sweet Ava's Paper sticker because I was like, kiss my butt. Anyway, I did more yoga, and then there was just a lot of bad news this week. In SoCal, in LA County, there was a kid. I mean, he's 20, but it's still a kid. He was detained. I'm not going to get into all of it, but it was really worrisome and honestly made me worry about my nephews. I'm not going to get into all of that, but it's really scary right now. They ended up finding him, this kid, but still, it was just a bad bit of news to be reading. I filmed more, and then it was 100 degrees this day, so I marked all of that with Sweet Ava's Paper stickers, and then I started watching the latest season of Great American Baking Show, so I marked that with a good old American pie from Beneva Creations. Thursday was Juneteenth, so I actually cut off these scripts from old Pink Diamond Planner Co. kits back when I used to use them for Juneteenth in order to mark the holiday, and that foiled firework is from Alicia Craft. We both had the day off. Well, I'm not working right now because it's summer for me, but my husband also had the day off. So we ended up going to Lake Tahoe this day because I wanted to go during the weekends. It can get really busy up there. So I wanted to use one of the weekdays instead. So it was 1 month until our My Chemical Romance concert. And then for marking, going to Pope Beach. Both of those stickers are from Itty Bitty Sticker Co. If you've never been to Lake Tahoe, you need to put it on your bucket list. It's gorgeous. Giant freshwater lake. Granite, very clean in my opinion, like much cleaner than like our ocean beaches in California, if I'm being honest. And it's just gorgeous. It was so nice to just relax. I did a little bit of reading. I played with my underwater disposable film camera. So that camera is from Corks and Corks Co. And we just hung out on the beach. My husband made a sandcastle. This toddler kept wandering over and wanting to destroy the sandcastle. And we're like, you can if you want. And his mom was like, don't do that. And we're like, well, you should listen to your mom. But if later, before we leave, if you want to knock it over, you can. Eventually he did. It was very funny. But yes, we were trying to emphasize, we're fine if you bust it up, but if your mom is saying you shouldn't do that, maybe you should listen to your mom. So yeah, it was a gorgeous, fun day. Really the best day we've had this summer. Then we went to Rayleigh's after because I wanted to get some Gatorade. I joked that it was like an all yellow item grocery haul because I think we got bananas because we were out. We got lemons because we were making salmon that night. And then we got yellow Gatorade because lemon lime Gatorade is peak Gatorade in my opinion. So yeah, then I found out I was sunburned. That was not fun. I thought I got all the sunscreen on. I did not. And I removed my press-on nails because they'd been on for a long time at that point. And then I rounded out the evening. This is all back at home, by the way, with watching Cold Case and Great American Baking Show. Friday was my sister's birthday, so I marked that. My husband was working from home, and then I did a bunch of laundry and job searching, and my big project for this day was changing my passwords on literally everything I could think of, because if you didn't hear, there was some giant hack. There's always giant hacks lately, it feels like, but there was one right around this time. Forbes had a good article about which accounts to prioritize checking. It was a lot of like Google and I forget what else got hacked, but anything connected to your Google account, if you haven't changed your password in a while, please do so. And honestly, I just went through like literally my whole life of anything that has a password and changed it because I'm just not risking it. I brushed the cats, and then we were taking care of our neighbor's dog. They were out of town for a night, so we went and walked him, which was nice to walk around the neighborhood. We were having lovely weather this week, and then I watched more Cold Case. So those judge stickers at the bottom of Thursday and Friday were from Sweet Ava's paper. Here, I'm really trying to lay out what I'm doing. Like, I've been a big fan of this lately. I think I got this idea from Camilla over at C_Loves Planning, and she often uses like acetate paper, like clear paper for this, but I'm using what I have. So Saturday, the summer solstice technically began the day before, which I think my sister would be happy to hear about because she was born very late at night on the day that she was born. So she was born like maybe like 15 minutes before midnight. Why do I remember this? I was 7. So I feel like that's when you start to remember things in life. But she's usually annoyed because she wants to be a summer baby, but she's technically a spring baby. But this year, the summer solstice was like at 3 p.m. our time on the 20th, but I didn't have space to mark it. So I marked Summer's Here at the top of Saturday. Just laid around and watched YouTube a lot. I was quite tired at this point. My husband, I should say, gave Evie a haircut, especially around her mane. She looked like Rip Van Winkle to me. She looked like she had like a scraggly beard. So also it just helps her keep cool in the summer when she gets a little haircut. And then we went to the nursery to buy ladybugs, which you can buy if you don't know. They sit in the fridge. You put them in your fridge until dusk, and then you release them. We also got some ice cream at a local place. So that really cute cat cone sticker is from Sweet Ava's paper. And then obviously that's a B on Saturday, but that was for releasing the ladybugs. We had to wait until like almost 9 o'clock because here in the summer, especially on the longest day of the year, which was the day before, the sun doesn't go down until like 9:30. So we released them at night because that was supposed to mean they weren't going to fly away. Unfortunately, they were all gone within like 2 days. So we were releasing them around our tomato plants for context because we were noticing some pests. Then the thing I'm not going to talk about more, you can look back or remember what happened on June 21st or what was announced on June 21st. I was watching Last Week Tonight. And then what's crazy is that the day we were in Tahoe, it was like 80 degrees, warm, sunny, perfect weather. A few days later, a huge storm rolled in, a really violent storm rolled in. And very sadly, a group of people who were on a boat on the water during that storm passed away. So I marked that. And then a few of the ladybugs ended up in the house that night on a lighter note. And the cats kind of wanted to adopt them. They didn't like with spiders and like weirder looking insects, not incense, sorry. They like to just smash them. But with the ladybugs, they're kind of like looking at them crawling around. They're like, "Can we keep them?" And we're like, "No, they need to go back outside where they belong." So that was cute. I marked that with a tomato plant sticker from Sweet Ava's paper. Sunday, my husband made kind of a modified full English breakfast, so that sticker's from Beneva Creations. I trimmed my hair, and then my husband started a project of resanding and restaining our nightstands. So our nightstands are actually from my grandparents' house from a very long time ago. I got them in like 2011 when my grandpa died. They badly, badly, badly need to be sanded down and restained. So my husband started this day. Bless his heart. And I placed a giant Sweet Ava's paper sticker order, and then I watched more last week tonight. In the sidebar, I used this, I think it's from Sugar Pop Fizz mermaid sticker, because it's a cat, that says, "I want to be where the people aren't." And then I filled in with the deco from the kit. I wasn't sure if I was going to use it or not, but after I put everything down, I was like, I feel like there's still space for it. So I actually layered it over some of the boxes, and I think it looks really nice. So thanks for listening. I'm glad this worked out, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.